How is it going? I hope everyone's doing well, and thank you for tuning in to this video. Today I'm here with my 12th and final installment of my WCW nWo 1998 Pay-Per-View Rewind. Today I'm here with my review of the December Pay-Per-View event Starrcade. Without wasting any more time, let's go and jump right into things. The show opened up with a triangle match for the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. Kidman defending against Juventud, Guerrera, and Rey Mysterio Jr. This match had a really hot start. They had some really great sequences, and all three men were involving each other. There wasn't like a moment where it was one-on-one. They were able to do spots and figure out situations to involve all three of them, which I thought was very, very creative, and the crowd was heavily into it. So the first half of this match was really, really fast-paced. The crowd was really invested into it, and it was a hot start. And then the match, as it progressed, it kind of got slower, and the crowd kind of lost interest. So unfortunately, the crowd, like I said, lost interest, and they didn't care anymore, so that kind of sucked. But it had a hot start, like I said, and it was still a fun match nonetheless. It didn't, progress into a bad one. It just lost some steam, and it kind of slowed down, and it became a slower-paced match. But it was all right. Eddie Guerrero came out, towards the end of the match. It was just kind of watching on. Finish came, where it looked like Kidman was close on the win. Then, of course, Mysterio got taken out. Eddie was getting involved, getting into the ref's face. Kidman had Juventud Guerrero rolled up. Eddie rolls in the ring, rolls Juventud up to, rolls him through, so Juventud's now pitting Kidman. Referee decides back in, gets a 2 count because Mysterio runs in, hits a missile drop kick. That way, it cradles Kidman back into the pin, and 1, 2, 3, Kidman retains the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. So, really good opening match. Like I said, had a hot start, and then it kind of progressed into a slower paced, match, and the crowd kind of lost interest, but it was still very good nonetheless. Afterwards, Eddie Guerrero was absolutely livid. He's just pissed, saying that, Juventud and Mysterio let down the LWO. And if you got to do things, you got to do things on your own. And then Kidman comes back out, accepts his challenge, and we now jump into our second WCW Cruiserweight Championship match. Kidman now defending against Eddie Guerrero. This was a good match. It was definitely a lot slower paced than the opening one. You can definitely tell the exhaustion that Kidman had from the opening match showed here. He was very tired, and, he was slowing down, and Eddie was just mainly working over him. So it was kind of a step down, but, I can't expect Kidman to go out there and have 2 bangers back-to-back like that. So I excuse him for that. But him and Eddie still had a good match nonetheless. It was good. Eddie was closing on the championship. He was closing on the frog splash, but Mysterio got involved and held him up, which allowed Kidman to set up for the shooting star press. Hit it. 1, 2, 3, retains the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. So a good match, and great performances from Kidman, and it's a great way to open Starrcade with those 2 Cruiserweight Championship matches. Then we go to Prince Iaukea taking on Norton Smiley. This match fucking sucked. I don't know. Why the fuck is this on Starrcade? Come on. Prince Iaukea rocking one of the worst haircuts I've seen. Norton Smiley got the victory with the crossface chicken wing. The crowd didn't care. This match is boring as shit. Whatever. Don't know why the hell this was on pay-per-view, let alone on Starrcade. Scott Hall comes out, says how 1998, hasn't been his best year in and out of the ring. Obviously he had his drinking problems back then, and heavily back then, so that played effect in his personal life and on his character as well, and said that 1999 is going to be his year. So, just a Scott Hall promo. Perry Saturn taking on the Cat. Why the fuck is this on pay-per-view? I mean, this match was a step up from the Norton Smiley Prince Iaukea match, but still, this had no business being on this show. The Cat was fine. He did his typical Cat antics where he turned his back and wanted to walk away. He played his heel role fairly decent in the match, so I can't fault him. Perry Saturn did his best he could to work with the Cat, so the match wasn't horrible, but it wasn't entertaining by any means. Perry Saturn took out Sonny and then hit the DVD on the Cat to get the win, so yeah, whatever match. Ric Flair does an interview hyping up his match with Eric Bischoff tonight, so Ric Flair returns to Starrcade, which is nice. Scott Norton, at the time the reigning IWGP Heavyweight Champion, believe it or not, teaming in with Brian Adams to take on Finlay and Jerry Flynn. Imagine that. The IWGP Heavyweight Champion is in a tag match with Brian Adams to take on Finlay and Jerry Flynn. Wow. This match fucking sucked. This was the worst match, boring as shit. I had no fun with it. Wasted time. Scott Norton got the victory for his team after the jackknife on Jerry Flynn. That's all you need to know. Shit match. WCW World Television Championship match. Konnan defending against Chris Jericho. This was a fine match. They didn't get much time. They only got like 6 or 7 minutes, but I thought they utilized the time fairly well. Konnan got the crowd hyped up. What he was able to do is, typical stuff. Get the crowd behind him, getting invested in the match. Jericho played his character, as well as he did back then. So he was doing his stuff, which was great. So it was a fine match, nothing to it. Like I said, it was pretty short and simple. Konnan hit the X Factor, which he followed up with the Kilo Sunrise, the submission victory to retain the World Television Championship. So, like I said, fine match for what it was. Ric Flair taking on Eric Bischoff. This was fine for what it was. I had fun with this. It was entertaining. I thought Flair beating the fuck out of Bischoff was entertaining to watch. You know, Flair chased him around the ringside for the longest time before he eventually got in the ring. They brawled in the ring. You know, they fought. Flair just chopped the shit out of Bischoff, you know, beating the shit out of him, kicking him in the groin and the nuts, just really working over Bischoff. And then Bischoff had a slight comeback on Flair, but Flair just beat the shit out of him. Locked in the figure 4 after Flair took out the ref. He nailed the referee, took him out. Locked Bischoff into the figure 4, but added Bischoff in the figure 4. Kurt Hennig came out, gave Eric Bischoff from Brass Knucks. Bischoff leaned up, waffled Flair with it, covered him. Referee, of course, was miraculously fine when Bischoff went for the cover. 1, 2, 3. Eric Bischoff defeats Ric Flair. Typical fucking WCW. You built Ric Flair's story, you know, with him being pretty much miserable with Eric Bischoff throughout the entire year of 1998. This is his big comeback for, you know, for Starrcade, his revenge on Bischoff, his opportunity, and you fuck him. Typical WCW. You can never have a fucking feel-good story with anyone that's not in the fucking nWo, apparently. So, and not saying anyone in the nWo ever had a feel-good story, but my point is, they're not going to make anyone look good unless they're in the nWo. Hence, Eric Bischoff fucking winning. So, yeah, don't agree with that decision, but like I said, for what it was, the match is entertaining. Diamond Dallas Page taking on the Giant. This was good for what it was. You know, Diamond Dallas Page definitely was an MVP in WCW 1998. You know, he did his best to get the crowd involved and make everyone look good. I thought his selling was fantastic. I thought, you know, he was just being innovative. He was doing his best to make the Giant look good, too. He was bringing the best out of the Giant, I thought. DDP just did his absolute best to make the Giant look good. And Giant was going for it. And him and DDP had a pretty good match overall. You know, the Giant hit a pretty sick backbreaker on DDP at one point, so that was a nice spot. But Giant had DDP sit on the turnbuckles. He was sent on the second rope. Tried a choke slam, but DDP actually countered it into a diamond cutter. 1, 2, 3. DDP defeats the Giant. Like I said, solid match. DDP was able to get the crowd into it. You know, they were pretty hot throughout the majority of the match, I felt. So, yeah, a big win for DDP. After Bret Hart failed to get involved, by the way, I forgot to mention, Bret Hart waffled the Giant with a chair after he missed DDP because, you know, the reason this match happened because Giant helped Bret beat DDP for the U.S. title, so that's what set up this match, and Bret got involved, but it backfired, and that helped DDP get the win over the Giant. So, yeah, good match overall. And then, of course, with the main event, which was made into a no disqualification match for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, Goldberg taking on Kevin Nash. This match was fine. Goldberg got his shit in. Kevin Nash got his shit in. They sold for each other for a little bit. You know, they pretty much did what you would have thought. They hyped this match up on commentary like it's the biggest match of all time, by the way. Like, they were saying how, like, this was like David and Goliath. There's two big beasts going at it. You know, it was... Yeah, they just really hyped it up like it was the biggest match of all time. And then you had the fuckery of the finish that they had. How you can hype something up and have such a big moment with such a stupid fucking finish. Disco Inferno comes out after Goldberg hits Nash with a spear. You know, he's going to set up for the jackhammer. Disco Inferno, trying to prove himself to the nWo, comes out. Eats a huge fucking spear from Goldberg. Which leads Bam Bam to come out. Eats a fucking another spear. He's hit one more spear to Kevin Nash. But then you had the infamous spot where Scott Hall comes out with the taser. Tases Goldberg, which allows Kevin Nash to hit the jackknife powerbomb. And 1, 2, 3. The streak is over. 173-1 is Goldberg. Kevin Nash is your brand new WCW World Heavyweight Champion. Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, Nash booked himself to beat Goldberg, so whether or not Nash was the right guy to beat Goldberg, I don't fucking know, but you know, the match was fine. Just the ending, you built up Goldberg undefeated for all that time, and then you have him lose to a taser, followed by a jackknife. I don't know. This happened how long ago? 22 years ago. I'm not going to bitch and complain about it. It's funny to watch back now and just think how ridiculous things were, how ridiculous things got for WCW back then. So, yeah, the match was fine, though. It wasn't bad. By any means, it was fine. One of the better matches in the show, honestly. So, and that was Starrcade 1998. Overall, I gotta say, it was not a terrible show. not a good show, but not a terrible show. Not compared to the last handful of pay-per-views from 1998. Definitely wasn't a bad one compared to those ones. It was watchable, I'll say that. Nothing spectacular. The only match really I'd go out of, not even go out of your way, but if you were to watch one match in the show, it'd be the opening match. That'd be the only match I'd recommend watching. Besides that, everything else is not worth the time. Goldberg losing for historical purposes, I guess, is a reason to watch, but the match itself really isn't worth paying attention to, so I don't know. Starrcade, I mean, they could have ended the year a lot worse. They could have ended with like a pay-per-view like Fall Brawl, which was absolutely terrible, so I don't know. They could have ended the year worse, I guess, so I mean, for the last pay-per-view, like I said, it was decent. It was all right. It wasn't as terrible as the last handful, but yeah, that ends a very terrible year for WCW, at least for pay-per-views, man. I thought the first few pay-per-views were good. We're in a solid direction. Then the quality just drastically dipped. And you could really tell how WCW came to fall because these pay-per-views were just unbearable. In 1999 and in 2000, man, those shows were just fucking unwatchable. Very, very bad, but this ends my WCW nWo 1998 pay-per-view rewind. I hope you guys have enjoyed the series. Hope you guys enjoyed my misery and complaining. Going into it, I thought these shows were going to be decent because I thought in my head the pay-per-views didn't get this bad until 1999, but apparently I was a year off, so thank you for sitting through my misery of watching all these pay-per-views. I hope you guys enjoyed the videos. If you guys enjoyed this video, please feel free to leave a like below. And of course, the next time, I'll see you guys then. Thank you guys for watching the video.